Here are your Court News Ohio top stories in 5 minutes. The Ohio Supreme Court recently heard a case on whether a state law that mandates HIV-positive people to disclose their status to their partners is constitutional. Orlando Batista was convicted of felonious assault and sentenced to 8 years in prison because he failed to tell his girlfriend he had HIV before they started a sexual relationship. Attorneys for Batista argue the statute violates his constitutional right to equal protection because the law is prejudicial against those with HIV.
But this case is bigger than him. This case is about all HIV-positive people in Ohio.
The state of Ohio argues that law protects people from contracting the virus.
There's a recognition that when you have sexual conduct, there are two parties to that conduct, and the other person has a right to know and has a right to be party to the decision to engage in the sexual conduct.
The justices will take the case under advisement. The Ohio Supreme Court recently ruled unanimously that a high school student's constitutional rights were not violated by the search of an unattended book bag that led to a discovery of a gun. Officials at Whetstone High School found a gun in 18-year-old Joshua Polk's bag in 2013. That discovery came on the heels of high school officials finding bullets in another of Polk's bags, which was left unattended. But was it a legal search and seizure? The Supreme Court ruled that it was, reversing a decision by the 10th District Court of Appeals in Columbus that ruled otherwise. Justice Sharon Kennedy wrote that there was a compelling interest in protecting students that made the school's search policy acceptable.
That I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States.
Whether they become attorneys in the courtroom or pursue a career in business, the new 200 lawyers who were admitted to the practice of law in Ohio on May 15 received praise from the top court in the state.
So please believe me when I say to you that we know how you feel and that you have the heartfelt congratulations of the members of the Supreme Court of Ohio.
The lawyers who passed the February 2017 Ohio bar examination and satisfied all of the Supreme Court's other requirements for admission walked the stage to receive their certificates of admission during a special court session at the Palace Theater in Columbus. Supreme Court Justice Pat Fisher gave the keynote speech.
If you take care of your character, your reputation will take care of itself.
From the bar to the bench, the journey to becoming a judge can be daunting. That's why a host of new judges attended the new judge orientation put on by Ohio Supreme Court's Judicial College.
I think it's the best job I've ever had.
Judge Richard Wetzel has only had the job for a few months. He practiced civil law for much of his career before being elected Knox County Court of Common Pleas judge last year.
The biggest challenge, I think, is how do you treat each case on its own facts and not try to set a pattern for this is the way these cases are going to be treated.
The new judge orientation focuses on everything from ethics to case flow management.
To see all the different counties in Ohio and how they practice and the issues that they face in their counties and how they handle different things has been really enlightening.
Judge Madej practiced mostly civil law for 16 years before she was elected in Cuyahoga County. During her 4 months on the job, her toughest burden behind the bench was sentencing someone to prison.
You know, I know that it'll get easier, but I never want to let go of that first experience because it's somebody's life that we're dealing with, regardless of what they've done.
Judge Wetzel concurs.
I'm surprised about my sensitivity and compassion for the offenders or the accused, in addition to the victims.
As a civil attorney, he didn't see how much drugs have devastated Ohioans, but on the bench, he sees it now.
Hearing in our communities about it being at a crisis level is correct, it's true.
These judges may be new to the bench, but they aren't taking this duty lightly.
Because no one's alike and no case is the same. And I think that if we keep reminding ourselves that every time we put the robe on, then, you know, we're doing our part.
That's a look at Court News Ohio's top stories. Visit courtnewsohio.gov for the latest headlines on Ohio's courts.